Bad Bitch Bible. Bad Bitch Bible.
The bitch is back. My name is Kilakush and welcome to season 2 of the Bad Bitch Bible. We are back at it again with more Kilakon and I can't believe it's taken me this long. I know it's been a minute, 2 years to be exact. But I am so much happier to be back now because when I was planning for season 2, I really wanted I wanted the set, I wanted the couch, I wanted this and that, and I was so arte with it. And so now that I have the means to do something even bigger and better, I am so happy to do so. But if you're new here, bitch, bakit ngayon lang? If you are new here, welcome to the Bad Bitch Bible. I do want to set some ground rules though. I always like to set some ground rules because I feel like, especially in the Philippines, these are the kinds of podcasts where we talk about things that aren't too traditional and can be on the more cancelable, controversial end. So, there is no room for homophobia, racism, sexism, or whatever the fuckism of that sort. While this isn't the space for that, this is the space for you to ask some questions, maybe ask for advice on how to get over your shitty situationship, or maybe even pour yourself a drink, get ready for a night out, and you just want someone to chica with, well, then that can be me. So, thank you so much for joining us here today, and it's gonna get crazy from here on out. Okay, now that we've set the ground rules, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're gonna need to take a seat for a second, and I'm gonna be real honest with you and hold your hand when I say this. I am gonna fuck up throughout this podcast, right? I'm going to be saying very cancelable, controversial things that I feel like sometimes I don't fully think through before I say it because it is very real and raw. There's barely any editing here. So when I do say things, just know to take it with a grain of salt. Like, not everything I say here is Bible as much as it is the Bad Bitch Bible. A lot of things that I think here or say here are right off the bat. These are spur of the moment kind of things. So I am always open to conversation. I'm always open to discussion and getting into arguments with people. I feel like I've always been the kind of person with strong beliefs that are loosely held. When I get into something, I really get into something. And if I don't agree with something, I will get into it. But also, I am very quick to change my mind if you show me otherwise. So I want to preface this by saying that I may and I will for sure fuck up. So please be kind. Now that it's been a minute, 2 years to be exact, so much has happened since. So let's catch up. First things first, I am no longer pescatarian. I'm not vegan or whatever. I no longer live or go back and forth from Boracay. I am based in Metro Manila now. I have a full-blown agency called Good Gang. And I think, of course, the most obvious one, I'm no longer lesbian. I thought I was lesbian for the longest time. Apparently, I'm bisexual, pan, or whatever the fuck. We'll get into that in a moment. But maybe let's just start off with the pescatarian thing. I was pescatarian for 3-ish years because I watched Game Changers with my girlfriend at the time. We were super into it. We were always into health and fitness and wellness and everything of that sort. After we watched Game Changers, it completely changed our lives. Literally to the point that we gave up meat almost immediately. I don't even remember if I had a last meat meal or anything like that. I just remember giving up meat completely within a week-ish. And I was so convinced that meat wasn't good for my body because of Game Changers, because I studied on it, because I read and absorbed so much knowledge on meat diets versus pescatarian diets versus vegan diets. I tried to be vegan for the longest time, but that shit is A, expensive, and B, just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're healthy. You know what else is vegan? Oreos. Doesn't mean it's healthy. You know what else is vegan? Gummy bears. Doesn't mean it's healthy. Just because something is vegan doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy because something can be fully chemically lab grown, making it vegan, but again, it doesn't mean it's healthy. As I tried out to be vegan, I explored as many options as I could here in Metro Manila. I tried a lot of different meal plans. I cooked for myself, but at the same time, I was so deep into nutrition. And so I was trying to get in my macros and shit like that. The whole gym girly, whatever, kinemer. I truly felt like I wasn't able to meet my macros. I wasn't able to meet my protein intake as easily when I was vegan because of the lack of options. And so I felt like the most sustainable thing for me after watching Game Changers and seeing how veganism or pescatarianism or just a no meat-ish diet or lessening meat affected my body and so many other people's bodies. I was like, okay, pescatarian, that shit's for me. I've also been allergic to chicken my whole life and eggs. That's why if you guys look at my hands or like on my TikTok, sometimes people will comment like, bitch, what the fuck happened to your hand? It's full of eczema and I have so many allergies here. That's because I'm allergic to chicken and eggs. So it can even be, let's say, in a pancake, right? Like I'll order a pancake out or I'll have something that's breaded and then they coated the fish in eggs and breading and all that. Because they use non-organic eggs or like white eggs, I would get allergies. And so I was like, okay, I've lived most of my life without eating chicken up until 20 years old. I've never tasted Jollibee chicken. I've never tasted mukdaw chicken. A lot of egg-based dishes I really wasn't able to try because of my allergies anyways. So I was like, if I'm already allergic to all of these things, I might as well just be pescatarian. However, I am also allergic to shrimp, oysters, shellfish in general. Any shellfish, I'm pretty much allergic to it. And so I was like, okay, then that limits my options even more. If these are my pescatarian options, because of what I'm allergic to, this is what was left. But I was willing to try anyway, and I was still eating organic eggs for the longest time. I was pescatarian for 3-ish years. And a lot of people ask me what changed or what made me eat meat all of a sudden, or what was the thing that changed me. And honestly, it's that it was so much easier to be pescatarian during the pandemic because I was just home. And so I was cooking for myself. I was barely eating out. I wasn't being social or eating with a lot of people in different places or meeting up with people. That said, it was easier to stick to the diet. But as things opened up again and I wanted to travel, I'm such an eater. I love trying food from different countries, and so I felt like I was missing out if, let's say, I went to Bangkok and then there was this really yummy beef or chicken-based dish that a lot of people recommended, then I was like, okay, then I'm missing out on that. And I'm not able to fully experience the culture and the food of wherever I'm traveling to. So as the world opened up again, I felt like I was missing out on a lot of food. That was one thing. Second thing was that I really wasn't hitting my macros anymore when it came to the protein intake. I was always chasing after it, or I was replacing a lot of my food with protein drinks, which isn't so healthy. Like, you can't always rely on protein drinks to meet your macros. And then third, I went to Cebu for the first time in my life, and I've never tried Cebu lechon. I was like, okay, then I'm gonna miss out on this huge opportunity. I was gonna miss out on this opportunity to try lechon for the first time, and so I did. So when I went to Cebu for the first time in August of 2022, that's when I cracked. I was like, this is it. I'm going to be trying Cebu lechon, and that was that. I tried, I think, 2 different kinds. I can't remember if it was, oh, yes. I tried Rico's lechon and then I tried House of Lechon. Both were so yummy, and that's kind of what set me off on this journey. However, a day or 2 after trying meat for the first time, I really felt my body crash. I guess because I wasn't used to the meat anymore. I wasn't used to digesting the meat anymore. My body was not okay. On the bright side, I was skinny though. If I'm being super honest with myself, I went pescatarian not solely with environmental advocacies or environmental purposes in mind. I know that sounds super selfish to say, but I had primarily myself in mind and then the environment in mind. I went pescatarian primarily thinking to myself, this is going to benefit me and my health more. And then secondarily, environmentalism and how animals are treated and malprocessed and all of those things. And so when I started eating meat again, what I really thought about was, how was this meat processed? Where was it sourced from? I prioritized whole foods more and was straying away from the vegan space because I felt like doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. There's so much processed foods in veganism and all of that I felt like people just don't talk about enough. I used to ride or die for corn. The one with a Q, Q-U-O-R-N. I think there was another one. There's a local one that I can't remember. I can't put a pin on it. But there was a local vegan food option. But all of it was processed. And if you really look into a lot of their ingredients, it's chemically lab grown and not always the best for you. And so I was really interested in making that shift and seeing what it can do for my body. And I was really happy with it. And so after trying lechon for the first time in Cebu, I started to eat meat again, maybe 2 to 3 times a week or just on the weekends for a really long time. And now I eat meat maybe half the week. Once I started eating meat again, so many people in my comments on Instagram, on TikTok especially, were like, oh my god, you don't care about the environment anymore, blah, blah, blah. And like so many bitches were hating. But those are the same bitches that are also eating meat. So I was like, bitch, what the fuck? You better walk the walk before you talk the talk. Okay, now let's get into the becoming straight part. I know I joke about it a lot, but I really did not become straight. I feel like it's just the easiest way to joke about it because I haven't fully digested what has happened to me or what I can become or what I am right now. Something I was thinking about a lot lately or over the past 2 years really was that, do I have to come out now as bi? Do I have to explain myself that I am bi? What if I'm not bi and what if I am pan? The more I thought about it, the more I really realized that sexuality is so fluid. It is ever changing and it grows with you. I think for a lot of people, they grow up thinking that they're straight and then they go through a gay experience, quote unquote, when they get to college, and then they explore with girls or they explore with guys and they don't really quite know who they are. With me, it was the complete opposite. I always knew I was gay growing up. Like from the day I was born talaga. No, but from the very beginning, I always had crushes on girls more than I had crushes on guys. I always thought that guys were attractive. I found boys cute objectively. Not that I would ever date them or fall in love with them. I never saw that in my purview. I just thought that wasn't for me. I never thought it would be a storyline for me, really. And so I grew up thinking I was gay for the longest time. I had my first girlfriend. I was 14. And then we broke up when I was 17. And then I had my more public relationship from about 18-ish until 24. And so I was with girls all along. And even before my first relationship, when I was 14, prior to that, I was always flirting, making lande with girls, talking to girls. Maybe okay because I was going to an all-girls school, but I also went to a co-ed school from the time I was like prep to grade 2. And during those times, again, I always thought I was gay. Not once in my life did I ever think I could fall in love with a man. I was so icked out by it, and I never thought that it was something that could happen to me because I never truly had a crush on a guy before. Let's rewind a little. Growing up, I always thought I was gay, had my first crush at like 11, 12 properly, and then I told my mom. I kind of came out-ish. If you guys don't know my coming out story, it was basically just me telling my mom that I had a crush on my lab partner, and that was it. She never asked any more questions like, oh my gosh, does this make you lesbian? Does this make you bi? Are you gay? Blah, blah, blah. She never asked me anything about that, and it's one of the things that I'm so grateful for forever, that she never pried or she never forced myself to come out to her, fully explain myself to her, because I feel like that set me off on the right path. I never felt pressured to come out to people or over explain myself. And my mom always gave me that freedom na parang, okay, if that's who you like now, then great. If you end up falling in love with a guy in the future, then great. And there was never the pressure of coming out to her or figuring myself out and defining myself in that moment, because nobody knows who they are at 13 or 12 even, or even later on. I feel like you think you know who you are at 18, 19, but now that I'm about to turn 26, I am a completely different person from when I was 18 to now that I'm 26. I've changed so much throughout the years, as any normal person would or has changed throughout the years. However, my personal life is online. And so I also recognize that because I chose this kind of work, it comes with that territory that because I was gay before and then now I'm straight now, or people think I'm straight now, people think that they can pick my personal life apart, which is fair. A lot of people will comment here and there and say, oh, you don't owe us an explanation, but thank you so much for sharing. But honestly, I do feel like I owe people an explanation because I took you guys along throughout this entire journey with me. So I do feel that because you supported me throughout the years and you paid my bills literally throughout the years by watching my content, liking my content, falling in love with my previous relationship, and then discovering this and that about me, I feel like I do owe people an explanation. And so I am so grateful for the support. I'm even grateful that people chose sides during the divorce when I broke up with my ex, because it really just showed that you guys were along with me during that journey and during that ride, and I can't force anyone to side with me or side with her or side with both of us. And those, again, are just the consequences of the line of work that I chose. So I totally understand that. But again, people are meant to change. I feel like I've never talked about this before, but I was actually into one guy when I was 13, and he was like my first boyfriend, quote unquote. It was a fake relationship though, or at least I thought it was, or I think back now and I'm like, okay, wait, was that a fake relationship? Okay, we met through family friends. He was a half Pinoy, half Swedish guy that I ended up hanging out with because as family friends are, you bring around your kids and you hang out and all of that. And we were hanging out for a really long time. I think he had a crush on me first and I was willing to explore, but I wasn't super into him. At 13, I was already out to my mom and my dad because again, I told them I had a crush on someone, yada yada. But as I was hanging out with that kid, the family friend, I wasn't really out to my grandma. Actually, till now, I'm still not fully out to my grandma because this guy showed some interest in dating me, or like he had a crush on me or something like that. I feel like I've blocked this story out of my brain for the longest time because I don't like to think about it. But okay, because he was showing interest in me, I was like, let us explore this opportunity since my grandma, being a boomer, she is the classic homophobic Spanish old Lola that you guys can think of. And she was always pushing me to date guys. And so I entertained the attention from this guy. 2 months in, he still wouldn't kiss me on the lip. And I really felt like there was something wrong. I felt like I was pushing for something to happen that wasn't ever gonna happen. I don't know, like I wasn't super into him. It was a puppy love, baby-ish kind of situation. And so ending, we broke up, I think 2 months in because he wouldn't kiss me. And I felt like, okay, then I can just go kiss girls, duh. And that's what I did. I broke up with him. I went off and I dated girls and I kissed girls. Fast forward to now, he's fully gay. Like he is a power bottom. My mom likes to joke with me a lot and she's like, oh, you're the person that turned him gay. And while I don't think that's true, I think that we were both lying to each other at 13 years old. He was just a little gay boy and I was a little gay girl. We were both trying to make society happy and figure ourselves out, but we couldn't and we broke up 2 months in because neither one of us wanted to kiss each other. And that was that. So I actually did explore with a guy for a teeny tiny bit, but I don't think that one counts because we were so young. And then right after that, I went back to dating girls. And so then I had a girlfriend from the age of 14 to 17. We started dating. I was a junior in high school, so I was in third year high school and she was a senior, but she was graduating. She graduated, she went to DLSU, she took up economics. I was still in high school. And so I was in fourth year high school while she was in first year college already. So I think at that point I was like 14 and she was 16, 17 because we didn't have K to 12, we didn't have STEM and all of that shit that you guys have now. We didn't have that yet. I was fully a high schooler dating a college student. Kind of weird. Totally not groomy though. I want to preface and say that because again, we met in high school and we were both very young, exploring. We dated for about 2.5, 3 years. We ended up breaking up because we just weren't happy together. I think that at that age, again, you're figuring yourselves out. And parang semi-LDR kami because I was living in the north and she was from the south. So I would say we were in a medium distance relationship. The whole north to south situation was wild. I was driving all the way from fucking Fairview. I lived in Fairview at the time while I was in college because I went to Ateneo. Fairview was always closer to Ateneo than Poblacion at the time. And so I was living in Fairview and she was from Las Piñas and we'd only see each other maybe once or twice a week. And I am such a clingy person. I can't deal if I can't see, feel, hold you. It feels like we're broken up. I'm the kind of person that if you and I are dating and I haven't seen you in 3 days, we're basically breaking up. And I feel like she was always the kind of person that was okay with that space. As I got older and I figured out the kind of person I want to be and the kind of person I was becoming, the more we drifted because she was in college. Once I got to college, so we were both in college, I started working and she really wasn't. She was still relying on her parents for allowance. And there's nothing wrong with that really. But with the kind of lifestyle that I want and the dreams that I have, I always felt like, okay, kailangan talaga hustler. I want someone that can take care of me. I'm not a 50-50 kind of girl. I know that in WLW relationships, dynamics are very different, but me, personally, I am not a 50-50 girl. I like someone taking care of me. I like dating people that are a little bit older than me. That's always kind of been me. And love languages, my love language is Gcash. And so I always felt like, okay, she's unable to give me the kind of relationship I want, not because she's a bad person, not because she's not enough or anything of that sort really. It's just that she wasn't the person for me and she didn't have the lifestyle that matched my lifestyle because again, in college, I was fully working and she wasn't. And so that alone created such disparities or such a distance in our relationship where I felt like we weren't on the same page anymore and we continued to drift apart from each other, which I look back on and I feel kind of sad about it because I feel like we just weren't meant to be to begin with, but you live and you learn. And so I feel like that was just one of those situations. I was also such a dick because I broke up with her over text. But to be fair, she was breaking up with me over the course of like 2 weeks. I think she was breaking up with me, like trying to text me and being like, I think this is over now. We should break up, blah, blah, blah. And then I was fighting for it. And we were tussling back and forth over 2 weeks. And then we ended up breaking up after the Kanye Music Festival. Almost a day after that, I started to go see other people because I've always been the kind of person that breaks up in my mind before I break up with them in real life. I start to emotionally distance and feel a type of way in my mind so that once we break up, pag wala na, wala na. I've always been the kind of person that gives my 110% more so that when I walk away from a relationship, I know that I did my best and there's no regrets. And that's what I did. Right after the relationship ended, I remember even going to like Black Market or something like that and going out and trying to see other people. I ended up talking to a bunch of people, maybe for like a week or two. I ended up talking to like an old crush and revisiting all the people that I always thought like, oh, maybe there could be something there. Maybe we could date or whatever. And I revisited all of those people. Didn't find anything there. And then I ended up going out in Taft. And that's where I ended up re-meeting my very publicly known ex. One night we're drinking with a bunch of friends. She's like, okay, I'm gonna bring this other friend, and that happens to be my ex, and that's where we met. We met at Plato in Sherwood along Taft. There's nothing that happened that night. We were just drinking with a bunch of friends. She DM'd me the morning after rather, and she was like, hey, I broke my phone just chatting. I don't even remember the full message. She just said she broke her phone. That's what I remember. And she sent a photo taken with her MacBook, and it was her holding her phone, and her phone was fully cracked because she got super drunk the night before where we went out. And she dropped her phone or like slammed it wherever. And she messaged me. And then later that day, she's like, hey, I have an assignment or homework, some kind of project. And she said that she wanted to go to the Ayala Museum. She was going to go with a couple other friends. She asked me to go with her. And that's kind of how it started. I went to that museum. We ended up talking. And then we ended up dating for almost 7 years on and off. So that was 2016 all the way up until 2022. I never really got to talk about our relationship in detail because I wanted to A, respect our relationship, B, I felt like I didn't get to debrief our relationship until years after. Now, basically, because I always felt like I was so in the moment, I couldn't take myself out of it and look at it from an objective standpoint, be like, wait, what actually happened there? Why did we break up? And maybe it's also because we never had that, what's that word? Confrontation? No, closure. We never had closure because I felt like, okay, from 7 years, once you decide to break up after 7 years, you're sure. There is no need for closure. And I feel like closure, while it works for some, for me, it's just another way for me to maybe catch my feels again and then get back into the relationship. I am so weak. I'm so marupok, and I'm the kind of person that if given the chance to have closure, I might just fold or lose my shit all over again and maybe just worsen the healing process. I don't know. I always felt like closure wasn't for me, but it worked for a lot of people, and that's cool with you guys. But for me, it ain't it. Taking you guys back, I was in second year college. I was halfway through my college experience. I was already working. I was in deep in work, in school. And when we started dating, she was also kind of interning, starting to film with shoots, and I always found that very inspiring. Again, I was into vlogging, I was into multimedia and getting myself out there, and I always felt like, wow, isn't it so cute that she can film me and I can be her talent for things? And we got along on so many levels. I was so in love. It was absolutely insane. I was never that deep in love with any girl before. And so I feel like that relationship truly swept me off my feet. We got in deep very, very quick. However, again, I wasn't fully out to my grandma. And she wasn't fully out to her mom. Even if her mom knew, she wasn't at a place that was very open and comfortable. As with many Filipino households, it's, again, I'm not talking shit. This is just the reality of being a gay girl in the Philippines. It's not very open. It's not very progressive for a lot of families, and that's okay. I, however, was slowly coming out online. I felt like a lot of people already knew that I was gay online. I never really had to come out because, again, my mom always already knew. Online, I started posting some gay shit, right? And a lot of people started to catch on, which is why they started to follow me at that time, and I started to create content. I was working in publishing. I was working in PR. We can talk about like my career in another podcast. But at that time, I wasn't fully a content creator yet. I was just dropping like crumbs about the whole gayness online and then posting about her here and there. It was only in 2018 that we started making some videos together. And if you guys check back, the very first video that we had uploaded together was us visiting our old high school, and I introduced her on cam as my very close friend. And that haunts me till this day because we all knew, like everybody saw right through it. We were fully dating, but I wasn't fully ready to accept it yet in public and say it out loud because I didn't want to put her in that position where she wasn't fully out yet. She had a very traditional household, and that's okay. I fully respected that, but I was also kind of pushing it because I wanted to date someone that was more out and I wanted to be comfortable with myself. I felt like this was the time that I could really get to know myself better, and I was pushing the whole content creation thing. And so in a way, I guess there is a part of me that does feel a little bad, but I would always ask her about videos that we were going to upload or if she was cool with it. And sometimes she would be the one to edit certain videos, and she always had the last say over whether or not she wanted something uploaded. If she wanted to cut something out, if she wanted to edit something out, she would totally edit it. But with me not fully being out to my grandma while I was out to the entire world and I was out to my parents, that always added a little bit of tension in our relationship. And then with her family not being super out. And I think that's a typical struggle for a lot of young couples in the Philippines, or young gay couples rather in the Philippines. Being gay at that age, it's Pandora's box full of problems, but also excitement and figuring yourself out. When I look back at those years, those were some of the most exciting years of my life because I was figuring myself out. Throughout the relationship, we broke up maybe, I can't even count how many times we break up, which is normal in a lot of long-term relationships. I don't know any long-term couple that's never broken up. At least like, really? My project manager slash COO. I call her like my COO of my life, my chief operating officer. A is here, and she's like, she's never broken up with your boyfriend, and you're going on 7 years ever. You've never broken up even for a week? Wow. You're the first person ever that I know, not even for 1 day. Never kayo nag-break? Pag nag-away kayo, ano na? Cool off lang? He'll go to you. Tapos chichikahin ka na oh, don't fight na, babe, ganon. Wow. Si I almost said her name. With my ex kasi, if she asked to break up with me, it would always be a tussle. We'd go back and forth. We would break up for like a week, break up for 2 weeks. And then I remember once we started posting YouTube videos together, that's kind of when we stayed in the relationship. Kasi wala na, it was out there na eh. But also because we were finally in a stable place in our relationship. I think that in general, your late teens, early 20s are a chaotic time because you don't have yourself figured out. So many problems come up. You're so hormonally activated that you're ready to fight about the dumbest shit, about the craziest shit. And when I look back at the person I was then compared to the person I am now, so much has changed. Like, I am a completely different person from when I was 18 to now that I'm 26. And now, when some dumb shit pisses me off, I'm no longer like, oh my God, let's fight, throws a plate across the room, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm no longer like that. I am now like, okay, fuck you. What can we do about it? Are we going to resolve it or not? Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I've let all the crazy out in me already, that I've gotten to a peaceful point in my life where nothing can faze me. Or if it does, I don't react the same way as I used to. But back then, when you are that hormonal and you are that crazy, I already knew it, that I was always a crazy bitch. Been that bitch, still that bitch, will forever be that bitch. And here I am now. At the end of the day, I feel like throughout the relationship, we just grew up together. We were best friends that fell in love. And then towards the end of the relationship, it made a loop. And we closed the loop and we became best friends again. And that's all it was. It's kind of sad when you think about us falling out of love, quote unquote, because I don't think that we fell out of love per se. I think that our relationship just changed so much that we no longer saw ourselves as lovers anymore. And we saw ourselves more as best friends, right? It's also hard during that age because we only grew up with each other and we didn't really date that many people. Like, I only had one ex prior and she only had one. No, I was her first longtime girlfriend. And I think that, again, is why we really needed that space to grow individually as people separate from the relationship. I think in many ways we outgrew each other as we grew up together, and I was always so grateful that I had her by my side to grow up with and experience so many things with. A lot of my career milestones, my personal milestones were with her. I was so happy to have her by my side throughout all of it. But in a sense, also, all we had was each other. And I think that looking back on our relationship then, our worlds centered around each other, and she felt it more than I did. I think that she wanted more space than I wanted because I've always been such a lover girl, and I felt like because I started working earlier than her, I got to experience more things. I had a girlfriend before her. I got to date other people, see other people. She didn't really have that. And so as we got into our 20s, I felt that she wanted to experience more things, which is great. And I was so happy for her. But at the same time, I was more happy for her as a best friend versus a relationship lover type beat. I felt like I wanted her to date other people. And this is not me being sarcastic in any way whatsoever. I truly felt like I love you so much. I want you to date other people and be the best version of you, grow, experience things. I love you so much that I want you to experience the world, regardless of me being in it or not. I loved her so much that I was fully ready to let her go to make sure that she was her happiest. I loved her so much that I was fully ready to let her go so that she could experience life to the fullest without me. And I know it sounds so fucked up to say, but that was my train of thought at the time, and it's still my train of thought now. I think that when I look back on our relationship, I still look at it with so much love and respect because it was such a nostalgic, happy time for me of experiencing things and growing. But coming into our 20s, I do recognize that we were holding ourselves back because we were all we knew. Each other is all we knew. Couples always fight. Couples always have their problems. But I think that the older we got, or at least coming into our 20s, the more we grew apart from each other as lovers and the more we grew into each other being best friends. Don't get me wrong, she was the most supportive person in my life. I was the most supportive person in her life. I wanted nothing but good things for her. I wanted to achieve all of her dreams. But was it aligned with our relationship anymore? Not necessarily. I'm also such a clingy person that I remember in the last year of our relationship, she started an office job and I was like, oh, I want to see you. I want to be with you all the time. But at the same time, as a friend, I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. Good to be away. Good to have that space. Meet new people. Exciting time in your career. But as a girlfriend, again, I was like, oh, I miss you. I want to be with you all the time. And so a lot of the times I was tussling between a best friend and as a lover, and then the best friend was winning. Lover was losing. And so we did end up breaking up shortly after we got back from Boracay, early 2022. We didn't announce it for a really long time because who wants to the world and admit it to yourselves? I feel like we were still going through it, which is why we didn't announce it for a while. I don't think we were fully ready for what was to come. We didn't know how people would react publicly, our friends and family. We slowly broke the news to everyone. And I remember as we were still texting each other, as we were still in each other's houses, the time that I announced it to the world on Instagram, I posted a photo of her and then my caption was "Take Care" because that was kind of like our breakup song, "Take Care" by Drake and Rihanna. If you listen to the lyrics, it'll make a lot of sense. And when I posted it on Instagram, not everybody understood what was going on right away. A lot of people were like, oh, cute photo, aesthetic, cute. I think it was Dora who commented for something like, "We'll always love you guys," or something sad. I can't even remember what Dora commented anymore, but she said something like that, which alluded to a breakup. And it was Dora's comment that sparked a fire that led every single person ever to comment and be like, oh my God, you guys broke up. Blah. And it was a couple weeks after that I posted a "We Broke Up" TikTok that kind of explained a bit more, but not really. I was so mysterious in that TikTok. And even in the podcast I posted 2 years ago, it was so mysterious and it didn't really get into detail. And I feel like even now I'm still not fully getting into detail. But again, I look back on that relationship with a lot of love and respect. So I don't want to tarnish that. I think that we were just two people that fell in love as best friends and then ended up becoming best friends again. What's funny about that time too, when I posted it on Instagram, that whole breakup post, was that she was literally right next to me in my room as I was choosing her photo, framing it, deciding on the caption and posting it on Instagram. I was telling her as she was right next to me, I was like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna post this right now. And she was like, it's real. I was like, yeah, it's real. Callie, my sister, was in the room with us too. And that was the moment where we all settled on the fact that holy fucking shit, it's real. Days before that, or as we broke up, I guess, I say as we broke up because it feels like we were still breaking up after we broke up because our lives were so deeply entangled. I think what people don't understand is that it's even crazier to break up on a good note versus a bad note. Like when I broke up with my first girlfriend, we ended on a bad note. And so right after that, I was out partying, seeing my friends, trying to date people, talk to all these people. La, la, la. I was a feral rat bitch and absolutely crazy, but I was so happy. After this breakup, however, I really went through it. I was in the trenches fighting for my fucking life because it was a good breakup and we broke up with so much love versus hatred or indifference even. I think the opposite of love is indifference, not hate. And we broke up on such a good note where I had so much respect and love for her that I couldn't hate her. I remember texting her after the breakup and kind of being like, I wish I could hate you because then I could move on faster. I wish you cheated on me so then I could move on faster. I feel like when you get cheated on, not that cheating is good in any way whatsoever, but I feel like when you get cheated on or someone does something bad to you, it's easier to move on because you hate them, because you feel like, okay, they fucked me over so bad. There is no way we could get back together. I don't envision a future together. La, la, la. Like you really picture that in mind. But when you break up on a good note, what is there to think about? Oh, what if we could still get back together? I feel like we were such a good couple. You get yappy and cryy and emotional because it was, again, such a healthy and mature breakup. It's always easier to get over a relationship where they fucked you over versus you end on a good note. And so that's what I was going through. I posted that Instagram post with her in the room. After I posted that shit on Instagram, we were still talking and seeing each other every now and then. We weren't talking every day, but every now and then we'd meet up, still help each other with content, do branded posts together, take each other's photos, making TikToks together. She would still see my sister, my mom every so often. And so we were still so deeply entangled in each other's lives. A lot of people don't know this, but aside from the franchise that we bought together, which we bought, by the way, a month before we broke up. And so by the time that it was up and running and we did our store launch, we were already broken up. That was so fucking wild. Like being broken up but still working together, and that whole dynamic was absolutely batshit fucking crazy. Nakakaloka talaga siya. No matter how mature you end or no matter how good of friends you are, it's crazy and it does something to you. While the breakup was traumatic, the post-breakup was even more traumatic for me. And so I feel like I was going through that during that time and I couldn't really talk about it yet because I was still digesting what the fuck was even going on. Aside from the franchise that we bought together, we also, we bought a condo together. And we started paying for that condo around the time that we broke up, which made things even more complicated. We were also sharing a dog together. We got a dog together back in 2021 or we got a dog together in early 2021. Her name is Willow. She is a black lab. And so after we broke up, we would meet up every 2 weeks, pass on the dog. It was really like a kid drop-off. We were co-parenting our dog. And if I learned anything, it's that you should never co-parent your dog because it is so chaotic and it's so crazy. No matter how mature or how healthy your breakup was, that shit's hard. Even if you two are good, you alone may not be good because you might be going through some things. It is so insanely hard to move on after a 7-year relationship. A few months after we broke up, I started seeing my current boyfriend now, Locks, who's a guy, a straight man, the first straight man in my life. And we can get into that in another podcast about like how we started dating and how I started to fall for a straight man and la la la. But I feel like I just need to catch you guys up on what happened the past 2 years. So yeah, so as I was starting to date my new boyfriend, she was also seeing some girls, but it was such a treacherous or difficult time because a lot of the girls that she would be seeing would of course like end up finding out like, oh, you still have me, Kush, on Instagram, or they couldn't fully understand her dynamic with my family because she was still seeing my sister and me every now and then and my dad. Because again, what I think a lot of you guys didn't know is at some point she was living with my dad, like the poggy dad that you guys always talk about. She was living with him in the same condo, like they were fully flatmates. She was so deeply entangled in our lives, and I feel that again, as healthy or mature as any relationship ending can be, a lot of her new girls or the people that she was seeing was uncomfortable with how close she was with my family or me still after our breakup. Understandably so, because if my current girlfriend was still seeing her ex's family and friends and whatever, I would feel some type of way. So it's completely understandable. And so as I started to realize that, I started to take a step back and try to give her some distance and some space. So I started to delete our photos on Instagram. She started to delete her photos of us on Instagram, and we started to create more space. Like, I personally, I don't know about her. I can't speak on her behalf, but these are just things that I assume and I did on my part, which was to create more space, text her less, talk to her less, FaceTime less, because we were still talking like we were best friends. Because it's not that I didn't care about her completely. It's just that our relationship changed. Would I have smashed her after we broke up? No, completely no. Did I care about her as a friend? Yes. And I was so used to her being in my life for 7 years that I fully couldn't comprehend a life without her, even as a friend, because I cared about her as a friend. Again, wouldn't make out with her, wouldn't smash her anymore. But did I care if she was okay and healthy and strong and whatever? Still, yes. But that was still me dealing with a breakup, unsure how to detach. It was so messy and so complicated, and there's so many layers to it. But at the end of the day, I cared about her as a friend, so much so that I wanted her to date someone good and get into a relationship where she was happy and healthy. And so I realized that I needed to take a step back, and she needed to take a step back also. And so we started to distance each other from each other's lives. And I remember people even commenting like, oh, how come we don't see you guys collab anymore or make content with each other if you guys ended on a good note naman? Again, I wanted to give her space, and I think she also respected my space from her. And so we started to distance ourselves from each other. However, the last time I did see her IRL was December for my sister's birthday, because my sister considers her to be one of her best friends ever. And I think they still saw each other like a few weeks ago or a few months ago. I try not to ask anymore, and I try not to get too involved, but I know that she still sees my family every once in a while. Or my sister also fully grew up with her, Kale. She's 16 now. So imagine, she knew her from the age of maybe 9, less than, because we all went to the same school. So again, very deeply entangled. I think it's good that we created more space with each other. I no longer follow her on Instagram. I soft blocked her, and that's the honest truth. A lot of people were asking like, how come you guys don't follow each other on Instagram anymore if you ended on such a good, healthy, mature note, blah, 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 blah. It's because I soft blocked her, because again, I wanted to create that space. It has nothing to do with her. I felt like to be able to respect her current relationship, I needed to soft block her to create that distance. And I feel like that's done us more good than harm. I can't remember when I soft blocked her, but it does feel like earlier on in this year. We haven't really been passing on Willow, our dog, back and forth anymore. Willow's fully with me. And we've also been working on the turnover of the condo from her to me completely, because I'm the one that ended up continuing to pay for it, because it was my idea to begin with. I felt that it was something I wanted from the very start, that I asked like, oh, do you want to get this condo with me? Blah, 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 with the idea that we were going to stay together. But now that we've fully broken up, it has become my sole responsibility. And so we've been working on passing on that condo title from her and me to just me. So removing her from the title. That's where we're at right now. I wish her all the best. I am so happy for her. I know that she's in her new relationship. I'm so happy that she found love again and is in a great, happy space. I'm in a great space as well. I'm going on almost 2 years with my current boyfriend, which we'll talk about in another episode, where I really talk about what's the difference between dating a girl and a guy and how that transition was for me. But I will say that sexuality is so fluid. While I am dating a straight man now, I don't think it makes me bi. If anything, what I've learned about myself is that I feel like it makes me pan. I'm not saying I'm pan, but I kind of feel like I am pan, because now that I'm coming more into my own, I feel like it wasn't about the gender to begin with. It was always about the heart. Wow, it's really not about what's down there, but what's inside. I've always deeply fallen in love with the person, and it never had anything to do with the preferences. I feel like it just so happened that I ended up falling in love with a straight man now, but it also doesn't make me bi. We'll get into it more on the next episode of the Bad Bitch Bible. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it is at Killakushla, KILLAKUSHLA. For the podcast, it is Bad Bitch Bible with 3 underscores after. And I'll see you girls, gays, and days again next time. Bye.